There are a lot of conspiracy theories going around about the potential for multiple shooters at the recent and tragic shootings in Las Vegas. And we came across evidence that lends to these theories, and we got it from the police themselves. You gotta hear this. Welcome to Zero Doubt Zone. I'm Dane Sorensen. On the night of the tragic Las Vegas shooting of concert goers of the Route 91 Harvest Festival from Mandalay Bay, the police dispatch scanner broadcast shows the moment authorities became aware of an active shooter.
1692 means we got shots fired at 4:15 at the Route 91. Sounded like an automatic firearm. 1792 means it's coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up. We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
But sadly, that was only the beginning. Over the course of the next hour and 20 minutes, police would receive reports of multiple shootings occurring at up to 10 additional hotels, some that are miles away from the Mandalay Bay. From that transcript, we learn of several interesting occurrences, including the following. 45 minutes after the shooting ceased at Mandalay Bay, police pursued and pinned down a possible suspect at Circus Circus. Now, Circus Circus is nearly 4 miles away. 2 minutes later, police received the first of several reports of active shootings at NYNY and Excalibur, including reports of multiple people down just outside of Zumanity. Now, clearly, the news was traveling fast.
There was just a shooting at Mandalay Bay at the Country Western Fair. The 4 people are supposedly dead, and then the shooter went to New York.
Police then describe a report of an active shooter using the escalator between New York and Excalibur.
In reference to 4:15 at New York, they're advising the active shooters possibly coming down the escalator from New York to Excalibur.
And in a live stream from after he escaped the concert, listen to this witness describe what he saw after approaching New York from outside.
Now we're running through this alleyway. There's a fence with like electronic stuff in it, and then if you keep going down the alleyway, there's a parking structure. So now we're running, and then what happened, babe?
There were shots.
There were shots? Where? From New York, Excalibur area. We heard shots and saw them, the muzzle flash, literally outside. It wasn't inside. It was not inside. It was outside. The shots were coming, literally, they were going towards our direction, towards the parking structure at Tropicana.
My older brother thinks he heard gunshots, and then someone yelled that there was a shooter inside the New York, where me and it was a scene like no other when everyone turns and runs screaming, nothing matters. Manager comes out and was like, listen, we have a place upstairs in the New York. We were escorted into a safe room that was guarded by many SWAT team members.
Over the next 10 minutes, several more disturbing reports come in, including a bomb threat in the valet area of the Luxor. Now, police units would secure and evacuate the area within 20 minutes. Now, more reported shootings come in from other hotels. Emergency vehicles quickly collect out front of Hooters as the rest of the hotel is locked down.
How crazy this is. Everyone locked up.
At this stage of the police dispatch broadcast, police begin to openly question whether these events are diversions. It's at this time, over an hour later from when the shooting began, that the Mandalay Bay shooter's room is finally breached. But the influx of shooting reports from other hotels is far from over. Renewed reports of shootings come in again from a park outside of New York, and now Area 2, with one guest capturing a potential suspect.
What are you doing?
They found him.
Hello?
They found him.
Nothing by the Aria. It looks like the cops got the guns pointed at him right now.
So I sat down at a slot machine
inside of Planet Hollywood. Now, I hear gunfire over the sound of the casino. More gunfire, much closer. I would estimate it had to be within a half block. People are starting to pour in. Planet Hollywood sent a security team to come and get us out of that basement. There are people just sitting around, lying around up here in the conference center because we were just on lockdown. But I know for a fact Homeland Security was there, and they were running everything, okay? FBI wasn't there yet. They were not there. Homeland Security was there. So I go to the cashier, he looks at the timestamp, whatever, and so he asked me, were you here with all that went down last night? I said, yeah. He said, what happened? And so I told him briefly. He looks at the cashier next to him, and he said, I told you. So she looks back at him and says, well, why are they telling you guys not to say so? He was like, I don't know, I didn't say so, she did, pointing at me. So from that, I gathered that the employees that were even there at the time were threatened to keep their damn mouths shut. Period. A whole lot of stuff went down. And almost none of it is being reported on mainstream news. Almost none of it. I did not see one news truck. I did not see one CNN, one ABC, one nobody. No Fox, no nobody. Okay? They weren't asking us anything. It's everybody else who wasn't there armchair guessing what's going on, because it's obvious that they're being lied to. But they don't even know to the extent to which they are being lied to. I'm here to tell you to the extent to which you are being lied to. Everything that we know that night didn't exist the next day. Everybody knows that they're lying. Everybody. The general public is just catching up, but we knew in less than 3 hours after all this happened that they were lying. That is my boarding pass for Spirit Airlines from Detroit to Las Vegas. Boarding pass home, October 4th.
And the chaos continues. Now more reports of a shooting in Tropicana.
So we're going in and they're trying to direct everyone into the casino at Tropicana. This guy comes in, this is the part that everybody's questioning, and I'm telling you guys now, this is how it went down. So he walks in from the pool area and he has a suitcase. He was very big, like a very muscular man. He had thick chest, thick arms. He walked in and I asked him, hey, can I go out that way? And he goes, no, you need to go into the casino. You need to go in the casino. And I asked him, do you work here? He said, no. And he's very calm and everybody's freaking out. So I told him, I was like, well, what's in the suitcase? And he's like, oh, nothing. And he's very calm, like, you know, everybody's freaking out. I mean, this guy, how can you be so calm when you see everybody running through, people, blood everywhere? Something was wrong. I could tell something was wrong. I didn't like it. I felt it was like a planned setup. And so I'm confronting him now and I'm telling him what's in the suitcase. And another guy runs up, he goes, yeah, I'm with him. What's in the suitcase? And the guy goes, okay. So he looks me dead in the eyes. The whole entire time, I kid you not, he looks me in the eyes. He gets down. He's not looking at the suitcase, he's looking at me. Then he has a grin on his face and he's ready to open up. As soon as he's down and he's like at that point where he's about to open it up, shots fired in Tropicana Casino and everybody's freaking out. And her and I, we heard them. They were like, they were totally different. They were actually ARs and they were suppressed. 3 bursts inside the Tropicana Casino. People who were there inside will tell you that there was that and that happened and it was confirmed. So the shots went off and he ran into the casino when everybody was running out and trying to get to safety. He ran into the casino. He didn't open it. He just ran in there, and I feel like I held him back from what he was supposed to do. This is truly what I feel. Now, it could be wrong. I could be right. I could be wrong. I have no idea.
Corroborating this testimony, police received calls from medics in Tropicana claiming they're being shot at. At this point, video is captured of a team of heavily armed men, possibly a combination of SWAT, security, and police officers, entering Tropicana carrying a gurney. Over the course of the next 10 minutes, multiple locations are cleared as police curiously report back that no shots were fired.
Helicopters are flying. There's 2 helicopters. The lights are flying around everywhere. And at this time, the shooter's already dead. You know, they had already announced that the shooter was dead. My dad texted me, said they got the one shooter. The whole time we were in the trash can, there was a helicopter flying around. We're under cardboard boxes, but we could see out of a little window, and the helicopter had its light, and it was going around Excalibur, New York area, like New York. And so if they only got one shooter, why were they flying around for the whole time while we were in the trash can?
But the shootings don't end there. Now reports flood in from 3 more hotels, starting with the Bellagio.
Basically told everyone to get down on the floor and then had to evacuate them out through the kitchens. And that was about 3/4 of an hour ago. But as I say, now they're giving us the all clear to actually move out now. So what's up, oh, what's happening? Hold on, sorry, I'm gonna have to go. Everyone's running.
Oh my goodness.
Like mad. Sorry, I have to go. I don't know what's happening. Hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna have to leave you because we're going to run out.
Yes, please make yourself
Please
safe
stay
as fast
safe.
as possible. Thank you.
Sorry.
Here's hotel guest Renee Downs describing her experience that night.
So we went to order a drink, and then all of a sudden, this huge crowd came rushing through the doors. The block things that you stand at the front, the red ropes, were all just, I mean, people weren't running around them, they were running over them. And we heard the gunfire. And the best that I can describe it, Tracy, is the fact that it was like if you take a board and you drop it on the floor, and it was like just this pop, 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 like that. And it was automatic. And I didn't know what kind of gunfire until my husband told me afterwards. My husband literally takes me and puts me down underneath the table, which I showed in the video. This other lady was laying head to head with me, and she's crying, and she I guess had jumped over the cement pillars, and she's crying. I don't know where my son is. And I was like, that's okay. I said, just hold on. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. And I just started praying. So because of everything that went on last night, I said to the girl, and with all the gunshots and stuff, I said, are you guys discounting rooms? How are you handling this? And she looked right at us and she said, there was no gunfire outside the Bellagio Hotel last night. And I looked and I was like, really? Okay, well, let me show you the video from where we were all blocked off and security and what I was, and I didn't even have to show it to them. She said, hold on one moment, ma'am, walks in the back, comes back out, slides our receipt over and says, here you go. You guys have a good day.
And the receipt had
0 goose eggs.
As Renee hid under a table near the lobby in the Bellagio, a report of security searching for a gunman at the Paris come in. And finally, the last shooting report arrives from Caesar's Palace, nearly 2.5 miles from Mandalay Bay, and over an hour after the original shooter had fired his final shots.
Careful, 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 everybody.
Run! Run! Run!
Now, in the middle of all this chaos, hotel shootings, people stampeding, medics reporting being shot at, police call in a suspicious vehicle as it drives through the roadblocks near the festival grounds. Have a listen.
Just on the boulevard of Tropicana, you got a Jeep that's coming up that way. It went through the roadblock of cones.
The vehicle would continue north on Las Vegas Boulevard, away from the concert venue, before turning east on Tropicana through a police command post in the direction of the airport. Now, that vehicle may have been full of nothing more than frightened people simply trying to get away from the hell that had surrounded them. People guilty only of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it raises an important point. Were the police correct in concluding these hotel shootings might have been diversions? Diversions so the perpetrators of the worst mass shooting in US history might have been able to quickly and easily move throughout the city undetected while police were distracted. Despite all the shooting activity, there were no reports of casualties in any of these hotels. Were the shooters firing in the air? Were they firing blanks meant to frighten people, sow chaos, and clear the streets by forcing hotels into lockdown? Or were some of the 58 who died actually killed at locations other than the concert venue? And finally, on the day prior to the shooting, union workers were required to complete mandatory active shooter drills, which were scheduled to take place in participating casinos throughout Las Vegas. On Facebook, a woman at the event describes how she called the 3 closest hospitals to inquire about a gunshot victim. She wrote, and I quote, "I received the same reply from each facility. There were no gunshot victims admitted to this facility. You may want to check with police." One woman said, "If you were referring to the crisis drill that everyone keeps calling about, then I'm sorry. There were no real gunshot victims. This was just a drill." She finished with, "If you don't believe me, call them yourself," and provided the phone numbers. Is it possible that these active shooter drills were simply the justifiable mechanism to position the required assets who later executed these diversions that helped spread thin the police response as the city turbulently dissolved into confusion and chaos? In other words, were these diversions working in collaboration with the shooter at Mandalay Bay? Maybe we'll never know. But we promise you this, we won't stop looking. So for Zero Doubt Zone, I'm Dane Sorensen. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, and please support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching.